like to welcome in our new sponsor for the year of 2024, Bree Combination Wrestling, BCW, ahead of their event at the Mecca in Ridgefield Park, New Jersey. Welcome to 2024, the new year, featuring Christina Marie, Brittany Blake, Vicious Vicky, Face, Jay Bougie, Anthony Gangone, Darius Carter, and a whole lot more Saturday, January 20th at the Mecca. Before we get started, I want to shout out our sponsors here on the BCP. As always, the BCP is brought to you by our favorite store, Funkenstein Wrestling Superstore, located online and at the Englishtown Flea Market in Englishtown, New Jersey, on Saturdays and Sundays from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. in the Blue Building. Get your wrestling stuff, retro video games, G.I. Joes, Ninja Turtles, Ghostbusters. It's our favorite store. Thank you, Heather and Dan, for sponsoring the show. Please welcome in our new sponsor, Mania Club. Established in 2015, Mania Club is a WWE-recognized community for fans with an eclectic love for both the world of professional wrestling and raising money for Connor's Cure. During WrestleMania weekend, we host the official tailgate of WrestleMania while also celebrating the life of Connor McCauley. They're the single largest donor within the V Foundation for Connor's Cure with over $150,000 raised. Please donate and join the Facebook group over at Mania Club. Donate at jimmyv.org/Mania Club. The BCP is also sponsored by the No Gimmicks Podcast, the pro wrestling podcast that keeps it 100% real 100% of the time. The No Gimmicks Podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts. Shout out Calvin, check out the No Gimmicks Podcast. Wrestling All Day, All Night is the best wrestling discussion group on Facebook. We provide more of a community feel here and have wrestling fans introduce other fans to something they may have not seen before, such as old school wrestling, indie wrestling, Japanese wrestling, and more. We also strive to be a source for information regarding upcoming wrestling meet and greets and signings. And remember, we're open 24/7, all day, all night. Be sure to follow on socials and join the group on Facebook at Wrestling All Day, All Night. BCP is also sponsored by Warriors of Wrestling. Warriors of Wrestling returns to Brooklyn, New York on Saturday, January 6th, featuring former WWE superstars Mace and Mansoor, also featuring Darius Carter, Joe Ocasio, Angel Metro, Vicious Vicky, TJ Marconi, and a whole lot more. Get your tickets now at warriorsofwrestling.com. And don't forget to subscribe for some great matches over on the Warriors of Wrestling YouTube channel. Please welcome in our new sponsors, the Sweet Chin Musings podcast. Sweet Chin Musings is the creation of the reigning, rarely defending, highly disputed champion of wrestling podcast, Mr. Perfect Mike Mueller, and his tag team partner in crime, Luke Kudialis. SCM focuses on the in-ring product of WWE and AEW. No dirt sheet rumors here, as well as backstage news, predictions, and analysis of characters, storylines, and major pay-per-views. Old school fans, don't worry, we have you covered too with a look back on classic matches, top 10 lists, and interactive tournaments that let the fans decide who is truly the best of all time. You can find us on Facebook at Sweet Chin Musings, and be sure to check out the podcast on all your favorite podcast major streaming platforms. We also got to shout out our new sponsors, United States Department of Nerds, the USDN Podcast, a podcast presented by Dat Feeling Podcast Network, LLC. The USDN Podcast is run by Jeffrey T. Fountain, a BCP Plus contributor, Jennifer Johnson, Eric Johnson, and Tay Stith, and is also home to the Queens of Nerdom podcast. USDN Podcast is a safe place for all nerds where they can come to be entertained, learn, and embrace debate. USDN prides itself on being by the people, for the people, and of the people. Here at the USDN, we strive to bring you the best content we can find where you know it comes with USDN's seal of approval. We always strive to give you factual data, and if it's a rumor, we'll always preface it with the rumor alert before dropping the freshest info. However, once those rumors are proven true, you can bet your money we at USDN are slamming the stamp down and giving it the USDN seal of approval. Hit our links on social media for all our merch. This ad is USDN approved. BCP is now sponsored by the international shining star, Ray Calitri. Calitri has honed his craft traveling and wrestling all over the world, including destinations such as Mexico, Peru, Puerto Rico, and even Egypt. The ISPW Tri-State Champion and Golden Ticket holder is also one of the longest reigning ECPW Light Heavyweight Champions in history. Calitri also holds an international championship that he won in Mexico. Always known for his appreciation of world culture, the Shining Star is also known for his taste for high fashion, lavish lifestyle and fast cars. However, he is most prominently known around the globe for his unparalleled in-ring acumen and skill set. Be sure to follow Ray Calitri across the board on social media at Calitri Ray on Twitter, at PAP1Fresh on Instagram, and Ray Calitri on Facebook. Guys, please welcome in our new pod sponsor for the show, GPW Productions. GPW provides your promotion or event with top-tier video and audio production, live streaming, and more. I can personally vouch for them in saying they're hands down the best production company I've ever worked with, as they continue to work with the likes of AEW, GCW, StarCast, MLW, not to mention the majority of the local independent promotions here in the tri-state area. They can even help you film a vignette or promo for your persona or gimmick. And guess what? GPW doesn't just work in wrestling. They cover MMA, boxing, basketball, or any other sporting event as well. Guys, on a personal note, as always, I'd like to thank Mike Sesko, Frank Leone, O'Neil Andrews, and the team for giving me multiple opportunities to work with them and some of the best talent in the world. Book GPW for a promotion or event today at contact@gpwproductions.com. Once again, the BCP is sponsored by Pro Wrestling Magic. Pro Wrestling Magic presents Kingdom Come 8, 99 Red Balloons on Saturday, December 23rd at the Mecca, Ridgefield Park here in New Jersey. Get your tickets now or watch live on IWTV. Kingdom Come 8 features Darius Carter, Steve Pena, Steve Off, Kerr, Alex Ryman, Danny Moff, the Notorious Mimi, the Ruthless Lala, Vicious Vicky, Adina Steele, the Rep, Death Row, and a whole lot more. Tune in on IWTV. Guys, I want to give a special shout out and thanks to our new December podcast sponsor, Key Nation, featuring our very own BCP and BCP Plus contributor, Mr. Wayne Keener. Make sure to follow Key Nation on TikTok and Instagram for great puns, memes, dad jokes, and random ridiculous content. Thank you, Wayne. Welcome in our new December sponsors for the BCP DDE Daddy Daughter Entertainment. Thank you, Chucky Diesel and Chloe Rain, for sponsoring the show. Daddy Daughter Entertainment is all about family and being a fan of professional wrestling. It's my favorite thing about this crazy business is seeing Chucky and Chloe at shows. And DDE right now are putting out some amazing content and special attraction matches. Thank you, DDE. Guys, last but not least, I want to shout out our new December sponsor, Chop City Wrestling. Chop City Wrestling is where our pal Ryan Steniford takes chops from wrestlers and donates $20 to Connor's Cure for every chop he takes. Follow his adventures on his YouTube channel for all those chops and some great pro wrestling content for a great cause. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. And thank you, Ryan, for sponsoring the BCP.
Yo, listen, it's Platinum Max, part of the Acclaim, the Platinum Playboy, best wrestler alive, and you are rocking with the Bob Culture Podcast. Yo, listen, Platinum on the mic, and I'm coming for your ass. I'm listening to the Bob Culture Podcast, and I think it's the hottest show in the game, because them and everybody loves the Acclaim. Now, scissor me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into a very special episode of the BCP, and I'm excited for this one. You know, these are some guys I've seen all over here in the Northeast. WrestlePro, saw them over at ISPW lately. Tag team, you know, we need more tag teams here on the BCP. Of course, they are the current reigning and defending VPW tag team champions. We have Adam Kirkland and Zander MFN Torres, the Rat Bastard. Gentlemen, welcome in. How are you? Thank you for making this time.
Yep. And I'm assuming you're going to insert the big applause sound there, because we are the Rat Bastards, the current reigning VPW tag champs. Rob, I'm not sure if you got that right or if you got that through your thick skull, so I want to make sure your audience got that across.
All right, man. Hey, you know what, bro? I appreciate you guys making the time. I want to get off on the right foot, you know, respectfully. I know my role. Thank you guys for making the time. I don't want to get off on the wrong foot. I appreciate you guys making the time. And let's talk about that. Current reigning and defending VPW tag team champions. I mean, what does that mean to you guys? And I got to ask you, not to be cliche here, but, you know, sometimes there's a little bit of that gold collecting going on, especially here in the Northeast. maybe some other tag team championships you guys might be targeting as well.
I mean, it means that we're the best tag team in VPW, which we've said since day one. And if no one wants to listen, now they kind of have to. They don't really have a choice at this point because the gold says it for us. We are the best. We've been the best since we walked in. Now we have the gold to prove it. And no one's taking it from us. And no one's going to take it from us because, quite frankly, no one in VPW is on our level in the tag team division. No one's on our level in the singles division either, but we haven't decided to conquer that one yet. So,
you know, we originally came in there with Mike Anthony. We kicked the door in, and it was a slow climb. We eventually, against all odds, defeat 2 teams, and we become the tag team champions, the best VPW has ever seen. And then, you know, we have to claw for every inch. We're ripping the mic out of their hands every show. And like Adam just said, they have to hear us now. There's no option anymore for people to complain, to say that, you know, we don't belong there or anything. No, we are the tag champions. You have to come take shots at us. And in terms of other tag promotions, man, it doesn't matter if it's Monster Factory, if it's WrestlePro, if it's ISPW, if it's Limitless Wrestling, if it's Chaotic Wrestling. We are going everywhere. We're coming for the gold. This is a plague of greatness that's happening all up and down the East Coast, all over the country, and it's going global.
That's right. Rob, did you know we are the 16th longest reigning VPW tag team champions? 16.
The 16th longest?
16th.
Oh,
that's right.
Wow. Well,
historic reign. Absolutely historic reign.
Certainly congratulations on that 16th. Definitely. I'm a stats guy for sure. So that's great, guys. And speaking of stats, how long have you guys been, not to be cliche again, but I want to get to know you guys a little bit better. We've crossed paths a few times. How long have you guys been a tandem? How long have you guys been doing this together?
What are we at, about 2.5 years now, I want to say?
Yes.
Probably started around summer 2021, and now we're going into 2024. So yeah, it's been about 2.5 years, I would say.
Yeah, it goes by in a blink of an eye, but you know, in that time we've we've had hundreds of matches, we've gone through tons of opponents, had some of the best opponents we could hope to have. There's a lot of people we're hoping to chop it back up again. We ran into Lince Dorado and Serpentico at Standalone Wrestling a couple years ago, and we've been itching to get our hands on them again. So we'll see what happens. Iron Savages at WrestlePro, Sent to Slaughter, Ace of Space Academy, wherever they pop up. There are a lot of teams out there that we are just, if we already haven't put them on the shelf, there's a lot of people we are looking to chew through and put them on the shelf and join the other teams there.
I love that, man. Serpentico, friend of the show. I love Serpentico, man. That's my guy. All right. My bad. Let's move on.
To get up on the right foot, and then here you are doing your thing.
He cheated against us, by the way. Just saying.
Sorry. Let's move on. Let's talk about you guys. I want to talk about, you guys have had some early success 2.5 years in. Let's talk about this. You guys' philosophy in the ring. Is it that old school philosophy? Cut the ring in half, frequent tags. You guys got some great tandem offense, and you got a little attitude to boot. I'm just calling it like I see it. I mean, what's your guys' philosophy when you get in the ring? Because you talk about, being across the ring from some of these names, some of these top tier talent here in the Northeast. I mean, what's your guys' philosophy in ring?
Well, the simple answer is that the philosophy is just we're going to kick the shit out of you and just walk right through you. But yeah, when you want to get down into it, I mean, that's tag wrestling 101. Cut the ring in half. I mean, we're called the Rat Bastards for a reason. We're not afraid of double teaming, getting a 2-on-1 advantage. That's just called strategy, right? We do it within the rules, right? There's no rules say we can't cut off the ring and try to get the numbers to work in our favor. That's strategy. That's tag team wrestling. That's why we're the current tag team champions over VPW. But I mean, it's simple tag team wrestling, and it's something that nobody seems to be doing nowadays. And it's exactly why nobody's on our level in tag team wrestling.
Exactly. And whether it's our tandem offense, whether it's how well we play by the book, referees like Stephen Dumang are always applauding how well, I never have to keep an eye on you guys. You're always playing within the rules. I make strict guidelines, and here you guys are playing within the boundaries. I think we understand the rules. We understand the rules aren't meant to be broken. And it's, we understand tag team wrestling. Like you said, tag in, tag out, cut it in half. And, if things spill to the outside, we respect our opponents And we just respect the rules of engagement. That's what makes us the best out there.
Sure. Okay. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome to hear. I mean, you guys have been very successful, but let's talk about this. You guys mentioned some of these names that you guys have faced. I mean, over at WrestlePro, we're seeing a lot of this AEW talent coming in and out of the locker room. I think you guys took on the Infantry. Correct me if I'm wrong. Not too long ago.
The Infantry ducked us. That's what happened.
Oh, did that get?
Yes.
All
they
right.
they pulled off of that show once they found out who they had to wrestle. Can't say I blame them, but hopefully we'll get that one back.
All right. Well, let's put it this way. Would that be one you guys would like personally? And is there anyone else that you're targeting on that? Let's go national level first, man. We talk about all these names coming through, man. That's amazing, man. Anyone that you guys got your eyes on, because these dream matches, they can happen, and we see them a lot here in the Northeast.
I still got a bunch. Adam, you want to name a few?
Well, I mean, obviously, I want to get that Infantry match back. That's first and foremost. I would love to get that. When it comes to dream matches, obviously FTR, I think, is on any tag team's list. How can they not be? Right?
Good answer.
I grew up as a big Hardy Boys guy, so I would love the opportunity to get in there with them one day, before they both hang it up. Those are the big two for me, I think, is FTR and Hardy Boys. Obviously, Acclaimed is on there too. You talk about WrestlePro. I think if you're giving me a top three to pick from, that's probably the top three for me in terms of who I want to get in there with.
Very in the realm of possibilities. Zander, please. Oh, sorry, sir.
Yeah, one of my, I would say, dream opponents for us to, really beat the shit out of would be Sting and Darby. I know Sting's, going to be sailing off into the sunset soon. One of the other ones that we're going to find a way to, I know we'll meet them on the front line at some point, but Motor City Machine Guns, wherever they're at, at some point, that's got to happen. Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, I feel like those guys did tag wrestling, before we even got onto the scene. And that's, we got to, we want to test ourselves against the best. And I feel like that's one of the ones for me that's it's got to happen.
Great answers. Really good stuff. And not to do the whole fantasy booking thing, but I got to ask, man, I like seeing just people, face other people. Some of the vets are having some great tag teams right now, as we're seeing as well, man. Is there anyone maybe like team like the Now or anyone on the independents that you guys have kind of been paying attention to, or maybe someone on the up and coming right now? Is there, you guys have a list of some of these indie names that you might want to face off with?
I feel like we've got a good amount of them under our belt. We got to wrestle MSP, who cheated to beat us, but we faced them, which was awesome. The Now, I've seen them, would love to wrestle them. Trying to think of who else is on the list. I mean, Zander, why don't you take over while I think about that one?
Up at Chaotic Wrestling, God's Greatest Creation, I think they're the current tag champs. We'd love to chop it up with them. Up at Limitless Wrestling, we saw a banger. It was 2 out of 3 falls between MSP, who still sucks, and Above the Rest. We would love to, chop it up with them. I mean, there's a lot of teams up in the Northeast. I mean, you have the new Backseats, you have Live Danger, you have Post Game. Lots of guys down at CZW. You got guys in Chaotic, Limitless. I mean, it's happening everywhere. In Chaotic, Shot Through the Heart. We haven't gotten to have a match against them yet.
We haven't wrestled Birds of the Sun yet either.
Oh, those are my guys. Those are my guys.
Well, I already didn't like you, and that just sealed the deal. So way to go.
Rob, you really picked the wrong people.
Sorry, that kills my butt. And Leo, they're great guys. Maybe you guys could all be friends. You just give them a chance.
No.
Okay, so all right. Well, let's move on. All right, Sorry. All right. Well, let's talk about this. Gil and Leo, a great dissension. I get a lot of criticism on this. I'm not trying to stir the pot here, just being a journalist. But I'm sure you guys, for instance, I believe you guys are on the spot Rumble. Correct me if I'm wrong, doing some singles, and that's for a singles opportunity, just calling it down the middle. I'm not trying to rub you guys the wrong way, but
not at all.
As singles competitors, I'm sure you guys have some goals as well. And there's nothing wrong with that. You guys are a tandem, but you handle your business on your own as well. Is that something that you guys think about?
Yeah, of course it is. It's something that we've discussed recently, actually, about
Really?
branching out there. Yeah, yeah. Don't interrupt me again. It's something that we've discussed recently is branching out there on our own, and we both know what we bring to the table as individuals, and that's why the tag team is as good as it is. It's because we're as good as we are by ourselves, and when we come together, we're that much better.
Mm-hmm.
So we're already conquering tag team wrestling along the East Coast. We're only getting better and better, but we haven't had the opportunity yet to really sink our teeth into what we can do as singles guys. And I don't think anybody really understands just how good either one of us are individually. They know what we can do as a tag team, but we're not getting the respect that we deserve or the recognition that we deserve as singles guys. And I think it's about time for us to branch out and start making sure that everyone knows just how good we are.
That's a fair answer, because I think sometimes as tag teams, sometimes you get pigeonholed, or sometimes you're having the same match over and over again, man. So I think that's very fair. Zander, your thoughts?
Sure, and I think Adam summed that up really well. And everybody knows that when we come together, we are the Megazord. We are each two halves of the Megazord, and we are unstoppable. We'll run through anybody by I was going to say any means necessary, but we and actually make people realize that this is a special thing in the tag division. But individually, these are two special things that we can do everything. We can talk, we can wrestle singles, we can do trios, we can do tag, we can do whatever it takes. We can do classical style wrestling, whether it's chaining. We can we are expanding our repertoire and abilities, and we are looking to train everywhere and anywhere. We just recently trained with Anthony Green at a Limitless seminar. We're looking to get training from somebody who lives in Japan. We are looking to get the minds and experience of people all over the globe and bring that into our repertoire and our experience level. So in terms of singles goals, I mean, we want to win tag gold everywhere. We want to be world champion everywhere. This is an expedition of gold for the Rat Bastards, for Zander and for Adam, individually and collectively. We're taking over everywhere.
Great answer, man. I love it, man. I felt like we were getting off on the wrong foot, but Zander, hey, you mentioned the Megazord. Power Rangers, bro. Are you Power Rangers guy?
Not if you are.
Oh, I like the red. I like the red one. He's my favorite. All right. Well, let's all right, well, let's ask about this. How about, I always like to ask an outside of wrestling question. It's always wrestling, the gold, this and that. We love it, man. But let's get to know you guys a little bit better. Zander and Adam, are you guys, Adam, you kind of look like a rock guy, man. Are you a musician? I'm a drummer over here. Do you guys have any interests or passions or anything like that? Or creative endeavors outside of wrestling? Adam, I'll start with you.
Actually, yeah, you actually got it right. I am a big rock and metal guy. I mean, I listen to a bit of everything. Country kind of sucks, except for Johnny Cash, if that counts as country. But predominantly it's rock and metal. And yeah, I played drums since I was 8.
Yes.
Haven't been behind the kit though in a couple of years because I started pursuing other things. But yeah, I probably did that from the time I was like 8 till about, I don't know, like 23, 24, I want to say. So I did that for a little while. I was in a few bands and whatnot. That was a fun time, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. What I wanted to do was hit people and not get arrested for doing it. And wrestling gives me that avenue to do it. Music, you can do it if you're in a mosh pit, but that's the problem. So if you're playing the music, then you can't really, get out from behind the drum set and go punch somebody. So wrestling's a better avenue for that. Besides music, I just enjoy creative outlets in general. I like movies. I like writing. I'm big 80s horror movie fan. Freddy, Jason, Michael, all the classics. I hate a lot of new horror very much. I think it all sucks. I don't know why we keep getting another Purge movie every other year. I'm a fan of classics, though. I'll say that.
All right, man, let me ask you this real quick before we throw it to Zander, man. As someone, I came up in the music scene, Asbury Park area as a drummer, man. Been dealing with promoters since the age of 16. I'll just leave it at that. Do you and I'm phrasing this very carefully, do you kind of see a lot of parallels between the indie music scene and the indie wrestling scene?
100%. Yeah. I mean, they're both filled with people who think that they're better than they actually are and, couldn't fucking lace my boots. But that's besides the point. Other than that, yeah, it's very similar. And when I describe what wrestling is like to people that don't follow it, that's actually the analogy I use. Is I tell them it's imagine, someone who's a musician, he goes around playing shows everywhere. trying to catch somebody's eye and sign a deal with them, get promoted and be all over the place. Wrestling isn't that different from that.
Very well said. Good stuff. And you're a drummer. I'm a drummer. Dude, I think we could be friends one day. I really do, man.
I doubt it.
Oh, all right.
Wait, this guy is try hard or what?
Sorry. Zander, some of your passions, please.
So I just like Adam, I love music as well. I actually recently saw Wolfgang Van Halen and Nita Strauss at Starland Ballroom.
Oh, Nita's fantastic. That's awesome.
That was the first time I saw her live, but yeah, that was really awesome. I've seen Godsmack probably like 15 times now. I love everything from like electronic dance to, I definitely love metal. I mean, I would say hard rock and metal has been my jam since, picked up my first CD, which was Hybrid Theory. And then I feel like I listened to Faceless by Godsmack. That's like their second album. I must have listened to that until I broke the CD. I'm big into martial arts. When I got into wrestling, Rob Van Dam caught my eye right away. I stopped at second degree black belt, and I feel like the combination of everything he was doing outside the ring was just like absolutely spectacular. That's like what really sucked me in. But my brother's huge into UFC. I'm more into like the martial arts aspect of it. Been big into like bodybuilding and powerlifting. When I first got into working out, World's Strongest Man, I was obsessed with all that. I think that was like World's Strongest Man where Phil Pfister beat Mary's Pujanowski, and yeah, I remember just like I just got obsessed going like year by year and just like watching like all those events and stuff. So yeah, just like a lot of like physical stuff. My dad was like huge into football growing up, like Scarlet Knights football, so we had to go to like all those games. But yeah, like Adam said, getting to kick the shit out of people, get paid for it, and not get beat up in prison, like how we would get beat up by the security guards every time we'd start some shit. Yeah, that's what brought us to pro wrestling.
All right, similar question, like what I asked Adam. We talk about going from martial arts to pro wrestling. I believe you did it in that order, if I'm correct. Mm-hmm. Do you kind of, I don't really want to see the parallels, but how do you make that adjustment? Because we've talked to a few people that have done that. Sometimes I think it's harder actually for people who are in martial arts and you'd think it'd be easier, man, because it's very different. I guess it depends on what martial art it is.
Yeah, I mean, so I did Taekwondo. That's a lot of it's standing kick based offense. Okay. So I mean, how often are we on the ground when we're? Had to completely learn training. Like chain. I feel like the only benefit I had, I would say, was I learned left side roll in Taekwondo, and that's about all I brought to the table. Everything was like from the ground up.
Cool. That's super interesting, man. And I'm sure in a lot of ways, because like in wrestling, and again, I'm not an in-ring competitor, so correct me if I'm wrong. I believe one of the first things you learn is to fall, which is very opposite, I believe, of what you may or may not learn in certain martial arts. Correct me if I'm wrong. So that's super interesting, man. That being said, we talked about music a little bit. I want to pick your guys' brain on this. I usually save this question for last. It's our favorite question to ask, but we're going to ask it now because we're talking about tunes. Say you guys do get that big WrestleMania or pay-per-view entrance, and you guys can give me separate answers. You might have different tastes. What band or artist plays you down to the ring? Adam, I'll throw it to you first.
That's tough because I do like our current theme song, which is a cover of the Beastie Boys' Sabotage by a band called Cancer Bats. But
okay,
yeah, no, you better.
Yes, sir.
I would say, oh man, shit. You know what? I think would actually be a badass one would be the Holy Diver cover that Killswitch Engage did of Dio's original. That would probably be a perfect march to the ring for WrestleMania or something like that.
Good answer. All right, Zander, any ideas? Maybe some Linkin Park. Maybe what are you thinking? I mean,
I was actually thinking. I like Deftones and Chevelle. I feel like there's probably a few songs there I like. Really heavy, distorted, like slow paced guitar. I feel like you can just like people would go ham to, and then you're just like screaming at people and stuff. I feel like I could probably find a few Deftones songs that would be pretty great for that. Obviously, probably some Godsmack, or it depends. I feel like a certain song would elicit a different feeling for like the style of entrance. But yeah, Chevelle, Deftones, Godsmack, Static X. Rest in peace, Wayne Static, something like that. Yeah.
Good answers. Wow, you guys know your music for sure. And I just want to ask you guys, and I want to be respectful of your time. Thank you guys for making time for this. I really appreciate it. But first, I want to ask you guys the short-term goals. You know, you kind of mentioned an expedition of gold. Perhaps there's those Wrestle Pro tag team championships. Perhaps there's those Wrestle Pro. I believe there's Alaskan tag team championships as well. Mm-hmm. Correct me if I'm wrong. You know, ISPW got those tag team championships, a Pro Wrestling Magic. I mean, there's so many different companies out there with singles championships and tag team championships. Is there any person or someone you're targeting, or maybe the short-term goals are like PWI 500? You know, we saw a lot of opportunities and extra work over in AEW. There's a lot of that kind of stuff going around. What are the short-term goals for the Rat Bastards?
So as I mentioned, you know, the Expedition of Gold, continue to collect tag gold everywhere. I think Wrestle on a national promotion is something that we want to accomplish this year. You know, bring our act to the, you know, to the masses on the biggest platform possible. While other people may say that, you know, that's, you know, our dream and what we will accomplish. But yeah, to continue to test ourselves against the best. To retire Security Inc. That's, you know, one of my personal goals. Oh, wow. Yeah, I think Wrestle on a televised promotion, continue more tag gold. Wrestle in Alaska was one of my goals for last year. You know, we'll see what happens this year. But, you know, we get out there, we win those tag gold belts. And, yeah, I think just continue knocking down the teams, collecting tag gold, and wrestling on a televised promotion.
Great answer, Adam.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's similar to what Zander said, right? You know, there's tag team goals, then there's individual goals, and you know, there's the big goals, but the small goals are how you get to the big goals. So, I mean, obviously, it's, you know, keep on branching out and keep on, you know, traveling up and down the East Coast, making our debuts, making our names, and getting tag team opportunities and title shots and title wins. And then on the individual level, I mean, it's about the same thing. You know, it's, again, we're now just starting to try to branch out and be individuals and get our opportunities as single guys in other places. So I think right now the short-term goal for probably both of us would be to establish ourselves in a couple territories locally and then expand all over the place and have the option to, you know, unite together or go separately and conquer those territories. Mm-hmm. I think that's pretty much where we're starting at. And then, of course, you know, it's a small personal goal for me. I want to break Ronnie Moses's legs next time we get into the ring with him. I don't like Security Inc. at all.
Yeah.
Nobody does.
I'm starting.
It looks like a weasel.
Starting to gather that. Let me ask you guys this, because I was going to ask the long-term goals. We'll save that for last. Who did you guys, and again, and you know what? I like that you guys are pretty much upfront, like, hey, we'll do our tag team thing and we'll do our singles thing. Like, I respect that, man. You don't got to stab each other in the back or anything like that. Like, hey, this is what we're doing. We're a team, you know, whether we're in there by ourselves or together, in and outside of the ring. I respect. I like that. Very cool. But I got to ask you this one. Individually, who are the, and Adam, I'll throw it to you first. Who are the wrestlers, and I don't know if you guys watch as kids, I'm guessing that might be the case. Who are the wrestlers that you gravitated towards, that you made that connection with as fans growing up? Adam, I'll throw it to you.
The first one for me, so I don't remember when I started watching wrestling. Like, it's literally, I was born in 94, right? So Attitude Era was right around the corner, and like, it was just always on TV. You know, someone in my house was always watching it there my entire life. I don't remember the first time I saw it. It's just always been something I watched. So naturally, growing up as a kid, you know, Attitude Era kicks off. Stone Cold was my guy. I loved Austin. I thought he was a badass, you know, and I still love Stone Cold. As I got a little bit older, I became a big Jeff Hardy guy. You know, Jeff, I thought was very, like, his look was different, his style was different, everything about him was different, but it was cool. And I liked that a lot. I think as time went on, you know, when the Shield came out, I was a huge fan of the Shield. I thought they were cool. I thought they were badass. Oh, yeah. Ambrose Moxley, particularly, loved him. Big fan of Edge. And then I think to top off the list, I would also say a name that doesn't get thrown around often enough by enough people. I'm a huge Raven guy.
Oh, Raven. Yeah, for sure. Love. That's what those are Great answers. And Jeff Hardy, another guy big into music as well. We got to see him perform over at StarCast, man. And he was just very passionate, great performance, man. So that's really cool. And at the same time, you said it, very innovative and different. And what you see is what you get with him, man. So that's, I think, why people gravitate towards him, man. Great answer, Zander, for you.
So I actually didn't grow up watching. I was just literally flipping through channels one day, and I actually started watching TNA wrestling before I ever started watching WWE. And what got me into it was I'm flipping through channels, and Ric Flair's just, in the middle of the ring, just, cutting a promo, and Sting, I'm gonna strangle you. And I just remember sitting there thinking, like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. What is this? Like, Impact Wrestling, like, what is going on? And then this was the build up to Ric Flair challenging Sting, and then Sting getting the Bound for Glory shot to Hogan. And I started tuning in for the Flair insanity, and then wound up sticking around for the rest of the show. And I'm like, man, what is this? Like, this beer money team that's about to implode. That's where Rob Van Dam was at the time. Who is this age actor? Like that, like, this is like crazy. And then, I got the wrestling bug, like, back then, and just like intensely. And then, once I wanted to actually start wrestling, some of the people who I like really loved as like performers, Jeff Jarrett, I really started to appreciate him for as much of a piece of shit that he is. I would even say, to get to work with him in AEW would be a personal dream of mine. But yeah, guys like a Ric Flair, from another generation back. Sting, it sucks, you're not going to be able to work with him. But Bobby Roode, like I mentioned, like, guys like in TNA at that time, I just remember, like, it was just like such a deep talent pool. A lot of the guys in AEW now, like Christian, I mean, he has elevated his game so high. He's like one of like the top heels in wrestling. Like him and like how MJF has elevated himself, and like such an amazing talker. Like Christian's the same thing. I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but yeah, just my trajectory into wrestling was just a little bit different. Like I caught the bug later, started in TNA, then branched into WWE, and then just absorbed everything I can get my hands on. And I'd say guys like I mentioned, so Jeff Jarrett, Rob Van Dam, Ric Flair, those are all my like top guys who I really loved. I would say the character guys, the really athletic guys, the combination of character and athleticism for me was like the biggest factor.
Love it, man. Yeah, great answers, man. You kind of like that old school generation, man. I dig it, man. And I'm sure that plays into your in-ring style here and there, man. So cool, guys. Last question for me. I want to be respectful of your time. We talked about the short-term goals. Let's talk about the long-term goals. And yes, we do hear, I want the contract here, I want the contract there, which is, you want to make it to the pros. I get it, like any athletes or performers, man. But we've also heard the answers, hey, I want to open school. Hey, I just want to travel the world. Hey, I want to work in Japan. What are some of the long-term goals for you guys? Zander, I'll start with you.
Sure. The last thing you mentioned there was, so even since I was a kid, I loved, anime. And I guess, like I mentioned, so then getting into wrestling, later on, to get to go to Japan for our art, I feel like would be a personal goal for me to get to wrestle in Japan for, attracting a promoter from all the experience and work that we've done. I feel like would be a kind of a dream come true scenario for me. I think get to travel the globe for, our art, and ability. I feel like that's like kind of like the highest respect for them. And something about when a kid tells you that, they think you're the best, or they realize that you're the best, there's something pretty rewarding about that. So traveling the globe for our art form, to do it at the highest level. I feel like it's as simple as that.
Love it. Mad respect. Adam, your answer.
Yeah, so my goal is Hall of Fame. That's it. Aspire to be one of the greatest of all time. That's why we're all here, right? If that's not what you're trying to do, then get the fuck out. The business doesn't need you. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion. So that's been my dream, my goal since I was young. It's like, you see these guys get enshrined in the Hall of Fame, and it's like, that's what I want for myself. That's what I want for both of us. That's the long-term end game for me. And then beyond that, it's just being involved in this business. So whenever the time comes that it's time to hang it up, whether it's, teaching, coaching, if I'm fortunate enough to get some kind of producer job somewhere like that, just anything that keeps me involved in this, maybe not podcasting, that sounds kind of lame, but anything that keeps me involved in professional wrestling, that's the long-term goal for me. Oh, shit. I'm sorry. My bad.
Thanks. Yeah. But fair enough. Like you said, go big or go home. That's a great answer. And I think podcasts are pretty cool. But anyway, guys, I do want to be respectful of your time. Thanks for coming on. But before we get out of here, we're always about that shameless promo. Guys, I want you to tell everyone where they can follow you on socials, get the merch, 8x10s, all that good stuff, please.
Love it, Rob. Thank you. You can give me a follow at Zander Torres Pro. That's ZanderTorres Pro on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook.
Love it, Adam.
And you can follow me at Kirkland RB on both Instagram and Twitter, not Facebook. I'm not on there. I don't like Facebook. And yeah, follow me on either of those and try your best not to talk to me very much.
Fair enough. Well, gentlemen,
fire stuff.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Guys, thank you so much for making the time. I really, really appreciate it. And guys, just continue success moving forward. Thank you for being kind of nice to me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you've been whatever. Ooh, somebody stop us.